The betting started before Lieutenant Kendra Vasquez even set foot on the training mat. $20 says she taps out in under 2 minutes. Corporal Hayes whispered to his squad mate, both men barely suppressing their grins as they watched her approach the combat training circle. The concrete floor of Hangar 7 echoed with the confident laughter of 6 Marines who had gathered for what they assumed would be brief entertainment. Sergeant Mills, the hand-to-hand combat instructor, checked his stopwatch with the weary expression of a man who had seen this scenario play out countless times before. He glanced at Vasquez, noting her slight frame against the backdrop of Marines who outweighed her by 50 pounds each, and shook his head almost imperceptibly. "Lieutenant, you understand this is full-contact sparring," he announced loudly enough for the growing crowd to hear. "These men have been training together for 8 months. No shame in observing today and joining next week's beginner session." The suggestion hung in the air like an offered escape route, complete with a built-in excuse that would save face for everyone involved. Several Marines nodded approvingly at their instructor's wisdom, already anticipating the relief that would wash over the lieutenant's face when she accepted the graceful exit. But Vasquez stepped directly into the center of the mat, her boots silent against the rubberized surface. "I appreciate the concern, Sergeant, but I'm here to train," she replied, her voice carrying clearly across the hangar without a trace of uncertainty. The response drew a few exchanged glances among the Marines, the kind of looks that suggested they were witnessing either admirable courage or spectacular foolishness. Before we dive into what happens next, drop a comment and let us know what state you're watching from. Maybe you've witnessed similar moments of quiet determination in your community, where someone surprised everyone with what they were capable of achieving. Corporal Hayes elbowed his companion, already counting his anticipated winnings. "This is going to be over so fast, I might not even have time to blink," he muttered, loud enough for Vasquez to hear. His confidence infected the other Marines, who began discussing among themselves how they should handle the situation with appropriate restraint. "Maybe we should go easy on her," suggested Private Chun, though his tone suggested the comment was more for show than genuine concern. "Don't want to send her to medical on her first day with the unit." The others nodded solemnly, as if they were discussing a delicate military operation rather than what they all assumed would be a brief demonstration of why certain training exercises existed for good reasons. Sergeant Mills positioned himself at the edge of the mat, his whistle ready and his medical kit conspicuously placed within easy reach. "The standard rules apply," he announced to the group. "Multiple opponents, continuous engagement until tap-out or instructor stoppage." He paused, looking directly at Vasquez with the expression of a man offering one final opportunity for common sense to prevail. "Lieutenant, these Marines have been working together as a team. You'll be facing coordinated attacks from multiple directions simultaneously." The explanation was thorough and professional, but everyone present understood its true purpose. Mills was providing her with detailed justification for the inevitable outcome, ensuring that her defeat would be attributed to tactical disadvantage rather than personal inadequacy. It was the kind of thoughtful leadership that protected egos while maintaining training standards. Vasquez nodded once, her expression unchanged. "Understood, Sergeant." She moved to her starting position with a fluid economy of motion that should have caught someone's attention, but the Marines were too busy positioning themselves for what they anticipated would be a brief exercise in controlled restraint. Corporal Hayes cracked his knuckles and grinned at his teammates. "Remember, we're gentlemen here," he announced with exaggerated formality. "Quick and clean, nothing fancy." The comment drew chuckles from the assembled group, everyone appreciating the humor in the situation while maintaining the pretense of taking it seriously. The 6 Marines arranged themselves in a loose semicircle around Vasquez, their stances relaxed and their expressions confident. Private Chin actually looked apologetic as he assumed his position, clearly already rehearsing the encouraging words he would offer after the brief demonstration concluded. Their body language spoke of men who were going through the motions of a predetermined outcome, professionals who were simply fulfilling their duty to provide the requested training experience. The fluorescent lights above cast harsh shadows across the training mat as more personnel began filtering into Hangar 7, drawn by word that something interesting was about to unfold. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez paused in the doorway, coffee cup in hand, and surveyed the scene with the practiced eye of a veteran who had witnessed countless training sessions. When he spotted Vasquez in the center circle, surrounded by 6 Marines, his eyebrows raised slightly in what might have been concern or curiosity. "She's got guts, I'll give her that," Rodriguez murmured to Master Sergeant Thompson, who had appeared beside him with the silent efficiency of a career military man. Thompson's response was a non-committal grunt that suggested he had seen enough overconfidence to last several lifetimes. Both men positioned themselves where they could observe without interfering, their presence adding an unofficial weight to what had begun as routine training. On the mat, Sergeant Mills raised his whistle, the silver metal catching the overhead lights. The 6 Marines shifted into more formal combat stances, their earlier casual confidence replaced by the focused attention that training protocols demanded. Corporal Hayes flexed his shoulders and adjusted his footing, his movements deliberate and controlled as he prepared for what he still assumed would be a brief exercise in restraint. "Standard engagement rules," Mills announced, his voice carrying the authority of a man who had overseen thousands of similar sessions. "Multiple opponent scenario, continuous contact until submission or instructor intervention." He paused, his gaze settling on Vasquez with unmistakable concern. "Lieutenant, you can tap out at any time. No questions asked, no explanations required." The offer was delivered with professional courtesy, but everyone present understood its underlying message. Mills was providing her with multiple escape routes, ensuring that she could withdraw without losing face when the reality of her situation became apparent. His experience had taught him that pride often prevented good soldiers from making smart decisions, and he was determined to prevent unnecessary injury. Private Chun rolled his neck and caught the eye of his squad mate, Private Morrison, who responded with a subtle nod. Their silent communication spoke of men who had trained together extensively, who understood each other's fighting styles and could coordinate their movements without verbal instruction. Chin's expression remained apologetic, as if he were already regretting the necessity of what was about to occur. "I still think we should take it easy," Chin said quietly, though his voice carried far enough for Vasquez to hear. "Maybe just 1 or 2 of us engage at first, see how she handles it." The suggestion drew approving nods from several Marines, who appreciated both his tactical thinking and his consideration for their opponent's well-being. Morrison straightened his uniform and cracked his knuckles with practiced efficiency. "Good thinking," he agreed, his tone suggesting that such restraint was both wise and generous. "We'll start slow, build up gradually. Give her a chance to get comfortable before we apply any real pressure." The comment was delivered with the confidence of a man who believed he was being exceptionally reasonable. From his position at the edge of the mat, Sergeant Mills checked his watch and noted the growing crowd of observers. What had begun as a routine training session was attracting attention throughout the hangar, with personnel pausing their duties to witness what many clearly expected would be a brief but instructive demonstration. The unofficial audience added pressure to an already charged situation. Vasquez remained motionless in the center of the circle, her breathing steady and her posture relaxed despite being outnumbered 6-1. Her stillness was remarkable given the circumstances, suggesting either exceptional composure or a complete lack of understanding regarding her situation. The Marines surrounding her interpreted her calm as naive confidence, the kind that would be quickly corrected by reality. Corporal Hayes adjusted his stance one final time and made eye contact with each of his teammates, confirming their coordination with silent precision. "All right, gentlemen," he said with authority that came from leading countless training exercises. "Professional engagement, controlled aggression, quick resolution. Let's make this educational for everyone involved." The words carried multiple meanings for the assembled group. Hayes was emphasizing their responsibility to conduct themselves as disciplined soldiers, while acknowledging that the primary lesson would likely be delivered to their opponent. His tone suggested that he took no pleasure in the anticipated outcome, merely accepted it as an inevitable result of poor decision-making. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez took a sip of his coffee and leaned against the hangar wall, settling in to observe what he expected would be a brief but memorable training session. His expression remained neutral, though his presence lent additional gravitas to the proceedings. Rodriguez had seen enough combat to recognize when someone was out of their depth, and everything about the current situation suggested that painful lessons were about to be administered. Master Sergeant Thompson crossed his arms and assumed the watchful stance of a senior non-commissioned officer overseeing junior personnel. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his eyes tracked every movement on the mat with the intensity of a man who had learned to anticipate problems before they developed. Thompson's silence spoke volumes about his expectations for the exercise's outcome. The tension in Hangar 7 had reached the point where conversation ceased and attention focused entirely on the combat circle. Even personnel working on equipment maintenance had paused their activities to observe, creating an atmosphere of collective anticipation. The unofficial nature of the gathering only heightened the drama, as word continued to spread that something significant was developing in the training area. Sergeant Mills raised his whistle to his lips, the gesture causing every person in the hangar to hold their breath in anticipation. The whistle's sharp blast cut through the hangar's tension like a blade, and the 6 Marines began their approach with the coordinated precision of men who had drilled together for months. Corporal Hayes took point, his movements controlled and deliberate as he closed the distance to Vasquez with what he clearly believed was appropriate restraint. His expression remained professional, though his eyes held the confidence of a man executing a familiar routine. Private Chun moved to flank from the left, his approach cautious and measured as he positioned himself for what he anticipated would be a brief supporting role. His earlier concerns about going easy on their opponent had translated into movements that were almost apologetically gentle, as if he were approaching a training dummy rather than a fellow soldier. Chen's body language suggested he was already rehearsing the encouraging words he would offer after the exercise concluded. Morrison and Davis coordinated their advance from the right side, their synchronized steps speaking to countless hours of shared training. Both men had adjusted their typical aggressive tactics to what they considered a more appropriate level for their current opponent, their stances relaxed and their guard positions deliberately loose. Their confidence was so complete that they had essentially handicapped themselves without realizing it. Private Hernandez and Lance Corporal Williams completed the semicircle, moving with the patient efficiency of men who understood their role in a coordinated takedown. Neither showed any urgency in their approach, both clearly anticipating that the exercise would be concluded by their teammates before they needed to engage seriously. Their casual positioning spoke volumes about their assessment of the threat level. Vasquez remained perfectly still as the 6 Marines closed in around her, her breathing steady and her posture unchanged despite the approaching coordinated assault. Her stillness was so complete that several observers began to wonder if she had frozen under pressure, a common reaction among inexperienced personnel when faced with overwhelming odds. The possibility that she might not even attempt to defend herself had begun to occur to some of the watching crowd. Hayes reached striking distance first, his approach telegraphed and controlled as he prepared to demonstrate the kind of restraint that would make the lesson educational rather than brutal. He had mentally prepared a series of basic grappling moves that would allow him to subdue their opponent quickly while minimizing the risk of injury. Hayes's confidence was so absolute that he had already begun thinking about the post-exercise debrief. The watching crowd held their collective breath as the first contact became inevitable. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez had positioned his coffee cup on a nearby equipment crate, freeing his hands in case medical assistance became necessary. His expression remained neutral, but his body language suggested a man preparing to intervene if the situation escalated beyond acceptable training parameters. Master Sergeant Thompson's weathered face showed no emotion as he observed the developing scenario, though his eyes tracked every movement with the intensity of a career soldier who had learned to anticipate problems. Thompson's presence added an unofficial gravity to the proceedings, his silent observation lending weight to what might otherwise have been dismissed as routine training. Sergeant Mills maintained his position at the edge of the mat, his whistle ready and his attention focused on Vasquez with unmistakable concern. His experience had taught him to watch for signs of panic or poor decision-making that might require immediate intervention. Mills had already identified the nearest clear path for medical personnel, should their services become necessary. The hangar's atmosphere had become charged with anticipation as more personnel continued to gather, drawn by word that something significant was developing in the training area. Conversations had ceased entirely, replaced by the kind of focused attention that preceded memorable events. The unofficial nature of the crowd only heightened the drama, creating an atmosphere where reputations could be made or destroyed. Hayes committed to his first move, a basic grappling technique designed to control his opponent's movement while demonstrating superior positioning. His execution was textbook perfect, delivered with the kind of professional competence that had earned him his current rank. Hayes's confidence was so complete that he had already begun anticipating how quickly the exercise would conclude. Chun moved to provide support. His approach coordinated with Hayes's initial engagement in a manner that demonstrated their extensive shared training. Both men had unconsciously adjusted their typical aggressive tactics to what they considered more appropriate for their current situation. Their restraint was so pronounced that they had essentially created artificial handicaps for themselves. Morrison and Davis began closing their flanking positions, their movements synchronized and purposeful as they prepared to assist in what they anticipated would be a brief demonstration of coordinated teamwork. Neither man showed any urgency, both clearly expecting that the primary engagement would be concluded before they needed to contribute significantly. Their casual confidence spoke to their complete assessment of the tactical situation. The moment of contact arrived with the inevitability of a training exercise that had been predetermined by experience and expectation. Hayes's hand reached toward Vasquez's shoulder with controlled precision, his movement textbook perfect and his confidence absolute. The watching crowd leaned forward slightly, anticipating the brief struggle that would demonstrate why certain training protocols existed for practical reasons. Private Hernandez and Lance Corporal Williams maintained their supporting positions, ready to assist if needed, but clearly expecting that their services would prove unnecessary. Both men had relaxed into the comfortable stance of soldiers observing a routine demonstration, their attention focused but their concern minimal. The exercise had proceeded exactly as everyone had anticipated. Vasquez's response, when it came, would redefine every assumption that had been made about the preceding minutes of careful positioning and confident expectation. Hayes's hand never made contact with Vasquez's shoulder. The moment his fingers came within striking distance, she moved with a fluid precision that transformed the entire dynamic of the engagement in less than a heartbeat. Her response was so swift and economical that several observers weren't certain they had actually witnessed movement until Hayes found himself airborne, his confident approach redirected into an involuntary flight path that ended with him striking the mat with surprising force. The sound of Hayes hitting the training surface echoed through Hangar 7 like a gunshot, causing every conversation to cease immediately. The impact was solid and unmistakable, the kind of sound that indicated serious technique rather than accidental stumbling. Hayes lay motionless for several seconds, his expression cycling through confusion, disbelief, and the dawning realization that his fundamental assumptions about the exercise had been catastrophically incorrect. Private Chin's reaction was immediate but counterproductive, his previously cautious approach transforming into urgent aggression as he rushed to assist his teammate. Chin's movement lacked the calculated restraint he had demonstrated moments earlier, his concern for Hayes overriding his tactical discipline. The change in his approach was exactly what Vasquez had anticipated, and she responded to his charge with the same fluid efficiency that had dispatched his squadmate. Chin's forward momentum became his primary disadvantage as Vasquez redirected his energy with surgical precision. His feet left the ground in a trajectory that carried him past his intended target and directly into the nearest equipment rack. The metallic crash of his impact with stored training gear created a symphony of clanging that reverberated throughout the hangar, drawing winces from observers who could hear the force of collision. Morrison and Davis exchanged a quick glance that communicated their mutual recognition that the situation had evolved beyond their initial expectations. Both men abandoned their previously restrained approach, their movements becoming more focused and aggressive as they attempted to compensate for their teammates' unexpected difficulties. Morrison gestured sharply to Davis, indicating a coordinated pincer movement that would prevent their opponent from continuing to exploit individual attacks. The two Marines moved simultaneously, their approach representing genuine tactical coordination rather than the casual demonstration they had originally planned. Morrison came in low while Davis attacked from a higher angle, their combined assault designed to overwhelm defensive capabilities through multiple simultaneous threats. Both men had unconsciously shifted into the kind of serious engagement they would employ against genuine opposition. Vasquez's response to the coordinated attack was a masterclass in economy of motion, her movements flowing from defense to counterattack with seamless efficiency. Morrison found his low approach redirected into an involuntary somersault that carried him well beyond his intended target, while Davis discovered that his higher angle attack had somehow become a rapid descent toward the mat. Both Marines hit the training surface within seconds of each other, their synchronized landing creating a percussion that rivaled their teammates' earlier impacts. The watching crowd had progressed from casual interest to shocked silence, their collective attention focused entirely on the impossible scene unfolding before them. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez had abandoned his coffee entirely, his weathered face displaying the kind of intense concentration that emerged when experienced soldiers witnessed something that challenged their understanding of tactical reality. Rodriguez's body language had shifted from casual observation to active analysis. Master Sergeant Thompson's expression remained carefully neutral, though his eyes had narrowed with the focused attention of a career military man reassessing a situation that had exceeded his initial parameters. Thompson's silence had become more pronounced, his usual professional commentary replaced by the kind of watchful observation that preceded significant recalculations of personnel assessments. Sergeant Mills maintained his position at the edge of the mat, though his whistle remained unused as he processed the rapid succession of events that had transformed routine training into something unprecedented. Mills's concern had shifted from worry about Vasquez's well-being to fascination with her capabilities, his professional instincts recognizing skill levels that exceeded standard expectations by considerable margins. Private Hernandez and Lance Corporal Williams found themselves in the unexpected position of being the remaining active participants in an exercise that had already eliminated 2/3 of their team. Both men had witnessed their squad mates' defeats with growing comprehension that their initial assessment of the tactical situation had been fundamentally flawed. Hernandez's casual confidence had been replaced by the kind of focused attention that emerged when survival instincts activated. Williams moved with increased caution, his approach reflecting a newfound respect for their opponent's capabilities combined with determination to avoid the fate that had befallen his teammates. His movements demonstrated the kind of tactical awareness that distinguished experienced soldiers from overconfident recruits, though his late recognition of the threat level had placed him at a significant strategic disadvantage. The 4 Marines who had already been dispatched remained on the training mat in various states of recovery, their positions creating an obstacle course that complicated the remaining engagement. Hayes had managed to regain his footing, though his movements suggested that his confidence had been thoroughly recalibrated by recent experience. Chun was still extricating himself from the equipment rack, his earlier apologetic demeanor replaced by grudging respect. Morrison and Davis had begun the process of standing, their coordinated teamwork extending to their mutual recognition that they had encountered something far beyond their initial expectations. Both men moved with the careful precision of soldiers who had learned to reassess tactical situations when fundamental assumptions proved incorrect. Their expressions reflected professional curiosity rather than personal embarrassment. Vasquez remained in the center of the training circle, her breathing unchanged and her posture maintaining the same relaxed competence she had displayed throughout the engagement. Her stillness was remarkable given the kinetic chaos that had surrounded her moments earlier, suggesting reserves of capability that had not yet been fully demonstrated. The contrast between her calm composure and the scattered positions of her opponents created a visual statement that required no additional commentary. Private Hernandez circled the perimeter of the training mat with the newfound caution of a man who had witnessed his assumptions dissolve in spectacular fashion. His earlier casual confidence had been replaced by the kind of focused attention that emerged when soldiers recognized they were facing genuine opposition rather than participating in routine demonstrations. Hernandez's movements reflected tactical awareness that had been absent from his initial approach, though his late recognition of the threat level had already placed him at considerable disadvantage. Lance Corporal Williams maintained his position on the opposite side of the circle, his stance reflecting the professional wariness of an experienced combatant who had just watched 4 teammates dispatched with embarrassing efficiency. Williams's eyes tracked Vasquez's every movement with the intensity of someone attempting to identify patterns or weaknesses that might provide tactical advantage. His body language spoke to grudging respect combined with determination to avoid joining his squad mates on the mat. The scattered positions of the 4 defeated Marines created an additional tactical complexity that both remaining combatants were forced to navigate. Hayes had regained his footing but remained near the edge of the training area, his expression cycling through disbelief and professional curiosity as he processed what he had experienced. Chin was still untangling himself from the equipment rack, the metallic sounds of his efforts providing an ongoing soundtrack to the continuing engagement. Morrison and Davis had managed to stand, their movements deliberate and careful as they assessed their own conditions while maintaining awareness of the ongoing confrontation. Both men displayed the kind of professional composure that distinguished experienced soldiers from recruits, their attention focused on understanding what they had encountered rather than dwelling on personal embarrassment. Their positions around the mat created additional obstacles that complicated the tactical situation for everyone involved. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez had moved closer to the training area, his weathered face displaying intense concentration as he analyzed capabilities that exceeded his initial assessment by considerable margins. Rodriguez's professional instincts had been activated by witnessing skill levels that demanded recalibration of his understanding regarding personnel capabilities. His coffee remained abandoned as his attention focused entirely on the unprecedented demonstration unfolding before him. Master Sergeant Thompson's neutral expression had given way to active analysis, his career experience providing context for recognizing exceptional ability when he encountered it. Thompson's silence had become more pronounced as he processed implications that extended beyond routine training exercises. His presence lent additional gravity to proceedings that had already exceeded standard parameters for training demonstrations. Sergeant Mills found himself in the unusual position of overseeing an exercise that had evolved far beyond his original expectations, his whistle remaining unused as he observed capabilities that challenged his understanding of standard training outcomes. Mills's concern had shifted from worrying about participant safety to fascination with witnessing skill levels that suggested specialized training backgrounds. His professional instincts recognized that he was observing something significant. The growing crowd of observers had achieved complete silence, their collective attention focused on a demonstration that had progressed from anticipated routine to unprecedented display. Personnel throughout Hangar 7 had abandoned their assigned duties to witness events that would likely become part of base folklore. The unofficial nature of the gathering only heightened the drama surrounding capabilities that demanded explanation. Hernandez decided to test Vasquez's defensive positioning with a careful probing attack, his approach reflecting tactical discipline that had been absent from his teammates' earlier efforts. His movement was measured and controlled, designed to gather information about her capabilities while minimizing his exposure to counterattack. Hernandez's technique demonstrated the professional competence that had earned his current rank, though his delayed recognition of the threat level remained problematic. Vasquez responded to Hernandez's probe with the same fluid efficiency she had demonstrated throughout the engagement, her movements flowing from defensive positioning to controlled redirection with seamless precision. Hernandez found his carefully planned attack transformed into an involuntary trajectory that carried him across the training mat with embarrassing momentum. His landing was less dramatic than his predecessors, but equally definitive in terms of tactical outcome. Williams witnessed his final teammate's defeat with the professional composure of a career soldier who understood that tactical situations sometimes exceeded initial parameters. His position as the sole remaining combatant placed him in circumstances that demanded careful consideration of available options. Williams's experience had taught him to recognize when discretion represented the better part of valor, though his professional pride demanded at least token resistance. The 5 defeated Marines had created a scattered pattern across the training area that spoke to the systematic nature of their sequential defeats. Hayes maintained his position near the equipment area, his expression reflecting ongoing attempts to process experiences that challenge his understanding of standard capabilities. Chen had successfully extracted himself from the storage rack, though his movements suggested that his confidence required extensive recalibration. Morrison and Davis stood together near the edge of the mat, their professional composure intact despite circumstances that had exceeded their expectations by considerable margins. Both men displayed the kind of analytical attention that distinguished experienced soldiers from those who allowed ego to interfere with learning opportunities. Their positions provided them with excellent observation points for witnessing the final phase of an engagement that had already redefined their understanding. Williams approached Vasquez with the cautious respect of a man who had learned from observing his teammates' experiences, his movements reflecting tactical awareness that had evolved throughout the demonstration. His technique was sound and his positioning appropriate, though he faced the disadvantage of engaging someone who had already demonstrated capabilities that exceeded standard training parameters. Williams's approach represented professional competence combined with realistic assessment of his tactical situation. The hangar's atmosphere had become charged with anticipation as the engagement approached its conclusion, every observer understanding that they were witnessing something that would require explanation and analysis. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez had positioned himself for optimal observation, his professional instincts activated by capabilities that demanded comprehensive reassessment of personnel evaluations. The silence was profound and expectant. Williams executed his approach with the methodical precision of a Marine who had absorbed every lesson from his teammates' sequential defeats, his movements reflecting tactical discipline that had been refined through years of professional training. His technique was textbook perfect, his positioning sound, and his timing calculated to minimize exposure while maximizing potential for successful engagement. Williams represented the culmination of Marine Corps hand-to-hand combat training, his approach demonstrating everything that military instruction was designed to produce. Vasquez met his assault with the same fluid efficiency that had characterized her responses throughout the engagement, though Williams's superior technique required marginally more effort to redirect effectively. For nearly 3 seconds, the two combatants remained engaged in what appeared to be genuine tactical exchange, Williams's professional competence providing enough resistance to suggest that the outcome might not be predetermined. His defensive positioning forced Vasquez to demonstrate additional aspects of her capabilities. The brief extension of contact allowed observers to witness technical details that had been obscured by the rapid conclusions of previous encounters. Williams's grappling technique was exceptional, his positioning was tactically sound, and his execution reflected the kind of professional training that distinguished elite military personnel from standard infantry. For a moment, it appeared that his superior approach might alter the trajectory of an engagement that had proceeded with mechanical inevitability. Vasquez's response, when it came, demonstrated capabilities that exceeded even the elevated expectations that Williams's competence had established. Her counter was not simply effective, but displayed technical mastery that belonged to entirely different categories of training. Williams found himself airborne despite his perfect positioning, his textbook technique redirected with surgical precision that spoke to understanding that transcended standard military instruction. Lance Corporal Williams's impact with the training mat represented the conclusion of systematic demonstration that had eliminated 6 Marines in succession, each defeat highlighting different aspects of capabilities that defied routine explanation. His landing was controlled despite the involuntary nature of his flight, his professional training evident even in defeat. Williams's positioning on the mat completed a pattern that would require comprehensive analysis to understand fully. The silence that followed Williams's defeat was profound and expectant, broken only by the subtle sounds of equipment settling and the distant hum of hangar ventilation systems. 37 personnel had witnessed systematic dismantling of coordinated assault by 6 experienced Marines, the demonstration proceeding with efficiency that suggested extensive specialized training. The unofficial gathering had become an inadvertent audience to capabilities that demanded explanation. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez moved closer to the training area, his weathered face reflecting intense concentration as he processed implications that extended far beyond routine training exercises. Rodriguez's professional instincts had been fully activated by witnessing skill levels that required comprehensive reassessment of personnel capabilities. His approach was deliberate and purposeful, suggesting that official inquiry would follow unofficial observation. Master Sergeant Thompson's analytical attention had intensified throughout the demonstration, his career experience providing context for recognizing exceptional ability when confronted with undeniable evidence. Thompson's neutral expression had given way to active evaluation, his silence reflecting the kind of professional consideration that preceded significant administrative decisions. His presence lent additional gravity to proceedings that had already exceeded standard parameters. Sergeant Mills found himself reconsidering fundamental assumptions about training protocols and personnel assessment, his whistle remaining unused as he observed the aftermath of an exercise that had challenged every expectation. Mills's professional instincts recognized that he had witnessed something requiring official documentation and analysis. His position as instructor had placed him in circumstances that demanded careful reporting and comprehensive evaluation. The 6 defeated Marines were beginning the process of recovery, their positions around the training mat creating a visual testimony to systematic demonstration of superior capabilities. Hayes had regained his composure, though his expression continued to reflect ongoing attempts to process experiences that challenged his understanding. Chin's extraction from the equipment area was complete, his movements suggesting that his confidence required extensive recalibration before future engagements. Morrison and Davis maintained their positions near the mat's edge, their professional composure intact despite circumstances that had exceeded their expectations by considerable margins. Both men displayed analytical attention that distinguished experienced soldiers from those who allowed ego to interfere with learning opportunities. Their observation of the final defeat had provided them with comprehensive understanding of capabilities that demanded explanation. Hernandez and Williams were completing their recovery processes, their movements reflecting professional discipline despite recent experiences that had challenged their tactical assumptions. Both Marines demonstrated the kind of adaptive thinking that distinguished career military personnel from those who struggled with unexpected circumstances. Their positioning provided them with optimal observation points for processing implications that extended beyond personal defeat. Vasquez remained in the center of the training circle, her breathing unchanged and her posture maintaining the same relaxed competence she had displayed throughout the engagement. Her stillness was remarkable given the systematic nature of the demonstration she had just completed, suggesting reserves of capability that remained unexplored. The contrast between her composed presence and the scattered positions of 6 defeated Marines created visual evidence that required no additional commentary. The hangar's atmosphere had shifted from anticipation to profound consideration, every observer understanding that they had witnessed something unprecedented that would require analysis and explanation. Personnel throughout the facility had abandoned their assigned duties to witness capabilities that challenged standard understanding of training outcomes. The unofficial nature of the gathering had transformed routine exercise into memorable demonstration. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez's approach to the training area represented transition from observation to official inquiry, his movements suggesting that administrative procedures would follow witnessed capabilities. Rodriguez's professional instincts had been activated by demonstration that exceeded routine parameters by margins that demanded comprehensive evaluation. His weathered face reflected the kind of focused attention that preceded significant personnel reassessment and administrative documentation. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez reached the edge of the training mat and paused, his experienced eyes conducting a systematic assessment of the scene that defied routine explanation. 6 Marines lay scattered across the rubberized surface in positions that spoke to systematic defeat rather than accidental mishap, their arrangement creating visual testimony to capabilities that exceeded standard military training parameters. Rodriguez's weathered face reflected the kind of intense concentration that emerged when career soldiers encountered situations requiring comprehensive reevaluation. Lieutenant Rodriguez said, his voice carrying the authority of 2 decades in the Marine Corps, "I think we need to discuss your background." His tone was respectful but insistent, reflecting recognition that official procedures would be required to document and analyze what he had witnessed. Rodriguez's approach was deliberate and professional, though his expression suggested that routine personnel files might prove inadequate for understanding recent demonstrations. Master Sergeant Thompson moved to join Rodriguez at the mat's perimeter, his presence adding additional official weight to inquiries that had become inevitable. Thompson's career experience had taught him to recognize exceptional capability when confronted with undeniable evidence, and his analytical attention was now focused on implications that extended beyond routine training exercises. His silence was purposeful, allowing Rodriguez to conduct initial inquiry while maintaining official oversight. Vasquez acknowledged Rodriguez's approach with a professional courtesy appropriate to superior rank, though her posture remained relaxed despite circumstances that would have created significant stress for most personnel. Her composure was remarkable given the attention she had attracted and the questions that were clearly forthcoming. The contrast between her calm demeanor and the scattered positions of her opponents created additional evidence of capabilities that demanded explanation. Sergeant Mills approached the group with his training roster and documentation materials, his professional instincts recognizing that official records would be required to properly document unprecedented training outcomes. Mills's experience had taught him to maintain comprehensive documentation of unusual events, and his current situation clearly qualified for detailed reporting. His clipboard contained standard training assessment forms that seemed inadequate for describing recent demonstrations. The 6 defeated Marines were completing their recovery processes, their movements reflecting professional discipline despite experiences that had challenged their fundamental assumptions about tactical capabilities. Hayes stood near the equipment area, his expression cycling through disbelief and analytical curiosity as he attempted to process encounters that exceeded his understanding. Chen's positioning suggested ongoing recalibration of confidence levels that had been thoroughly tested. Morrison and Davis had positioned themselves where they could observe official inquiry, while maintaining appropriate distance from proceedings that clearly involved matters beyond their immediate concern. Both men displayed the kind of professional awareness that distinguished experienced soldiers from those who failed to recognize when situations exceeded routine parameters. Their attention was focused and respectful, understanding that they had witnessed something requiring official attention. Hernandez and Williams completed the group of defeated Marines, their positions reflecting ongoing attempts to understand capabilities that have been demonstrated with systematic efficiency. Both men maintained professional composure despite circumstances that had exceeded their expectations by considerable margins. Their experience provided them with context for recognizing exceptional ability when confronted with undeniable evidence. The growing crowd of observers had maintained respectful distance while continuing to witness proceedings that had evolved from routine training to official inquiry. Personnel throughout Hangar 7 understood that they had observed something unprecedented, and their attention remained focused on developments that would likely influence base operations. The unofficial nature of their gathering had created circumstances where routine became memorable. Rodriguez examined the scattered equipment and assessed the physical evidence of systematic demonstration, his professional instincts activated by witnessing capabilities that required comprehensive evaluation. The pattern of defeats was too consistent to attribute to chance, and the technical proficiency displayed suggested training backgrounds that exceeded standard military instruction. Rodriguez's analysis was methodical and thorough, reflecting career experience in personnel assessment. Lieutenant Vasquez, Rodriguez continued, his tone maintaining professional respect while emphasizing the necessity of forthcoming disclosure. Your performance today suggests specialized training that extends beyond standard Marine Corps instruction. His statement was observation rather than accusation, though the implications were clear to everyone present. Rodriguez's experience had taught him to approach exceptional personnel with appropriate caution and respect. Master Sergeant Thompson's attention remained focused on Vasquez, his career instincts providing context for recognizing capabilities that belonged to specialized training programs. Thompson's silence reflected ongoing evaluation of implications that would require administrative attention and proper documentation. His presence ensured that official procedures would be followed and appropriate personnel would be notified of exceptional capabilities. Sergeant Mills consulted his training roster and personnel files, his documentation reflecting standard military records that seemed inadequate for explaining recent demonstrations. Mills's professional instincts recognized that additional information would be required to properly assess and document capabilities that exceeded routine training parameters. His clipboard contained forms designed for standard evaluations rather than exceptional circumstances. The atmosphere in Hangar 7 had shifted from routine training environment to official inquiry, every observer understanding that they had witnessed something requiring administrative attention and proper documentation. Staff personnel had abandoned their assigned duties to observe proceedings that would likely influence future training protocols and personnel assessments. The significance of recent events was becoming apparent to everyone present. Vasquez maintained her position in the center of the training circle, her demeanor reflecting professional courtesy combined with awareness that official procedures were inevitable. Her composure remained unchanged despite circumstances that would have created considerable stress for most personnel facing similar inquiry. The questions that were clearly forthcoming would require responses that exceeded standard military biographical information. Vasquez reached into her uniform pocket and withdrew a small leather identification wallet, the movement deliberate and purposeful as she prepared to provide information that would explain recent demonstrations. Her expression remained composed despite the growing attention from personnel who had witnessed capabilities that exceeded standard training parameters. The wallet itself appeared unremarkable, though her handling of it suggested significance that extended beyond routine military identification. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez accepted the offered credentials with professional courtesy, his weathered hands opening the leather folder to examine documentation that might provide context for exceptional capabilities. Rodriguez's expression changed subtly as he processed information contained within official papers that clearly exceeded standard personnel records. His career experience had taught him to recognize specialized credentials when confronted with authentic documentation. Master Sergeant Thompson moved closer to observe the identification materials, his presence adding official oversight to proceedings that had acquired administrative significance. Thompson's neutral expression shifted to active interest as he examined credentials that belonged to categories of military service requiring specialized clearances and comprehensive background investigations. His silence reflected ongoing evaluation of implications that would influence future training protocols. The identification wallet contained multiple forms of official documentation, each piece contributing to a comprehensive picture of specialized training and exceptional qualifications. Rodriguez's examination was methodical and thorough, his professional instincts activated by witnessing credentials that explained recent demonstrations while raising additional questions about assignment procedures and operational requirements. The documentation was authentic and properly authorized. Sergeant Mills approached the group with increased attention, his training documentation and assessment materials becoming secondary to understanding personnel backgrounds that exceeded his initial evaluation parameters. Mills's professional instincts recognized that standard training protocols would require modification when dealing with specialized personnel whose capabilities transcended routine instruction. His clipboard seemed inadequate for documenting exceptional circumstances. The 6 defeated Marines had positioned themselves where they could observe official proceedings while maintaining appropriate distance from inquiries that clearly involved matters beyond their immediate concern. Hayes's expression reflected ongoing attempts to process encounters with capabilities that belonged to entirely different categories of training. Chun maintained professional composure despite experiences that had thoroughly recalibrated his understanding of tactical possibilities. Morrison and Davis exchanged glances that communicated mutual recognition of witnessing something significant, their professional awareness providing context for understanding that routine training had evolved into demonstration of specialized capabilities. Both men displayed analytical attention that distinguished experienced soldiers from those who failed to recognize exceptional ability when confronted with undeniable evidence. Their positioning allowed optimal observation of official inquiry. Hernandez and Williams completed the group of observers, their attention focused on understanding implications of credentials that would explain systematic defeat they had experienced. Both Marines maintained respectful distance while continuing to process encounters that had challenged their fundamental assumptions about standard military capabilities. Their professional discipline was evident despite circumstances that had exceeded expectations. The growing crowd of unofficial observers had maintained appropriate positions while witnessing proceedings that had acquired official significance. Their collective attention focused on developments that would likely influence base operations and training protocols. Personnel throughout Hangar 7 understood that routine exercise had evolved into administrative matter requiring proper documentation and evaluation. The atmosphere reflected professional curiosity combined with official respect. Rodriguez completed his examination of the identification materials and looked up at Vasquez with expression that reflected comprehensive understanding of capabilities that had been demonstrated with systematic efficiency. His professional instincts provided context for recognizing specialized training when confronted with authentic documentation and undeniable evidence. Rodriguez's assessment was thorough and respectful, acknowledging exceptional qualifications while maintaining appropriate military courtesy. Lieutenant Rodriguez said, his voice reflecting newfound respect combined with professional recognition of specialized credentials. These qualifications explain your performance today. His tone acknowledged capabilities that exceeded standard training while maintaining official courtesy appropriate to documented expertise. Rodriguez's statement represented transition from inquiry to recognition, his career experience providing context for understanding exceptional personnel. Master Sergeant Thompson's evaluation of the documentation was complete, his analytical attention now focused on implications that would require administrative notification and proper reporting procedures. Thompson's career instincts recognized that specialized personnel required different handling protocols and operational considerations. His presence ensured that appropriate procedures would be followed and relevant officials would be notified of exceptional capabilities. The identification materials contain credentials that belong to specialized military programs requiring extensive background investigations and comprehensive training protocols. Vasquez's qualifications explained recent demonstrations while highlighting assignment procedures that had placed exceptional personnel in routine training environments. The documentation was authentic and properly authorized, though its implications extended beyond standard operational parameters. Sergeant Mills's assessment of his training documentation revealed inadequacies in standard evaluation procedures when applied to specialized personnel whose capabilities transcended routine instruction. Mills's professional instincts recognized that future training protocols would require modification to accommodate exceptional qualifications and specialized backgrounds. His clipboard contained forms designed for standard assessments rather than extraordinary circumstances. The atmosphere in Hangar 7 reflected transition from routine training environment to official recognition of specialized capabilities, every observer understanding that they had witnessed demonstration requiring administrative attention and proper documentation. Staff personnel maintained respectful attention while understanding that recent events would influence future operations and training protocols. The significance of documented qualifications was becoming apparent to everyone present. Vasquez maintained her professional composure throughout the official inquiry, her demeanor reflecting confidence appropriate to documented expertise, combined with respect for military hierarchy and administrative procedures. Her credentials had provided explanation for capabilities that had been demonstrated with systematic efficiency, though questions remained regarding assignment protocols and operational requirements. The official recognition was appropriate and overdue. The small black insignia embedded within Vasquez's identification wallet caught Master Sergeant Thompson's attention with unmistakable recognition, his weathered face reflecting the kind of focused concentration that emerged when career soldiers encountered symbols representing the highest levels of military specialization. Thompson's finger traced the edge of the distinctive marking, his expression confirming identification of credentials that belonged to programs requiring extraordinary qualifications and comprehensive security clearances. Special Operations Combat Training, Thompson said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of someone who understood the significance of documentation they were examining. His tone reflected professional respect combined with awareness that specialized credentials explained capabilities that had been demonstrated with systematic efficiency. Thompson's career experience provided context for recognizing elite qualifications when confronted with authentic evidence. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez examined the insignia more closely, his professional instincts activated by witnessing symbols that represented years of specialized instruction and exceptional performance standards. Rodriguez's expression reflected growing understanding of training backgrounds that exceeded standard military parameters by considerable margins. His assessment was methodical and thorough, acknowledging qualifications that demanded different operational considerations and administrative protocols. The identification materials contained additional documentation that reinforced the significance of specialized training credentials, each piece contributing to a comprehensive picture of exceptional qualifications and elite instruction. Vasquez's background represented investment in personnel development that extended far beyond routine military training, her credentials reflecting successful completion of programs with extraordinary selection standards and comprehensive performance requirements. Sergeant Mills approached the examination with increased professional interest, his training documentation becoming secondary to understanding personnel qualifications that exceeded his initial assessment parameters by substantial margins. Mills's experience had taught him to recognize exceptional capability when confronted with authentic documentation, and his current situation clearly qualified for detailed analysis and proper reporting procedures. The 6 defeated Marines had positioned themselves where they could observe official proceedings while beginning to understand the context of their recent encounters with capabilities that belonged to entirely different categories of military training. Hayes's expression reflected ongoing recalibration of assumptions about standard personnel assignments, his professional awareness providing framework for processing encounters with elite qualifications. Chun maintained respectful attention while understanding that his earlier concerns about appropriate restraint had been based on fundamentally incorrect assessments of tactical capabilities and specialized training backgrounds. His positioning allowed observation of credentials that explained systematic defeats while highlighting his own limitations in recognizing exceptional personnel when initially encountered. Morrison and Davis exchanged glances that communicated mutual recognition of witnessing documentation that provided context for understanding recent demonstrations of superior capabilities. Both men displayed analytical attention that distinguished experienced soldiers from those who failed to adapt when confronted with evidence that challenged initial assumptions. Their professional discipline was evident despite circumstances that had thoroughly exceeded expectations. Hernandez and Williams completed the group of observing Marines. Their attention focused on understanding qualifications that explained encounters with training backgrounds far exceeding their own specialized instruction. Both men maintained professional composure while processing implications of credentials that belong to military programs requiring extraordinary selection standards and comprehensive performance requirements. The growing crowd of unofficial observers had maintained appropriate positions while witnessing proceedings that had acquired significant administrative importance. Their collective attention focused on documentation that would influence future training protocols and operational assignments. Personnel throughout Hangar 7 understood that routine exercise had revealed specialized capabilities requiring proper recognition and administrative adjustment. Rodriguez completed his examination of the comprehensive documentation and looked at Vasquez with expression reflecting full understanding of qualifications that explained recent demonstrations while raising questions about assignment procedures and operational requirements. His professional assessment acknowledged exceptional credentials while maintaining appropriate military courtesy and official respect for documented expertise. Lieutenant Vasquez, Rodriguez said, his tone reflecting complete recognition of specialized qualifications combined with professional curiosity about assignment protocols. Your credentials indicate training that exceeds standard combat instruction by substantial margins. His statement acknowledged capabilities that have been demonstrated with systematic efficiency while recognizing administrative complexities of managing specialized personnel within routine training environments. Master Sergeant Thompson's evaluation of the complete documentation was thorough and professional, his career instincts providing context for understanding that specialized personnel required different handling protocols and operational considerations. Thompson's presence ensured that appropriate procedures would be followed and relevant officials would be notified of exceptional qualifications that had been revealed through unprecedented training demonstrations. The identification materials represented years of specialized instruction and exceptional performance standards. Vasquez's qualifications reflecting successful completion of military programs with extraordinary selection criteria and comprehensive training requirements. Her background explained recent capabilities while highlighting assignment procedures that had placed elite personnel in routine training environments without proper advance notification. Sergeant Mills's assessment of his standard training documentation revealed significant inadequacies when applied to specialized personnel whose qualifications transcended routine instruction parameters. Mills's professional instincts recognized that future training protocols would require substantial modification to accommodate exceptional backgrounds and elite capabilities. His evaluation forms seemed primitive when measured against documented expertise. The atmosphere in Hangar 7 had shifted to reflect official recognition of specialized capabilities and exceptional qualifications, every observer understanding that they had witnessed demonstration requiring comprehensive administrative attention and proper documentation procedures. Staff personnel maintained respectful silence while processing implications that would influence future operations and assignment protocols throughout the facility. Vasquez maintained her professional composure throughout the official examination, her demeanor reflecting confidence appropriate to documented expertise, combined with respect for military hierarchy and administrative procedures that were clearly inevitable. Her credentials had provided comprehensive explanation for capabilities that exceeded standard training, while creating new requirements for operational planning and personnel management. The implications of Vasquez's documented credentials began reverberating throughout Hangar 7 as word spread among personnel who had witnessed unprecedented demonstrations of specialized capabilities. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez initiated immediate communication with base administration, his professional instincts recognizing that elite qualifications required notification of appropriate command authority and revision of standard operational protocols. Rodriguez's weathered face reflected the kind of focused attention that emerged when routine assignments revealed exceptional personnel requiring specialized handling. Master Sergeant Thompson assumed responsibility for coordinating official response to documented qualifications that exceeded standard training parameters, his career experience providing framework for managing situations involving specialized personnel whose capabilities transcended routine instruction. Thompson's administrative knowledge encompassed protocols for handling elite military credentials within standard base operations, his presence ensuring that appropriate procedures would be implemented without delay. The 6 defeated Marines found themselves reassessing not only their recent encounters, but their fundamental understanding of personnel assignments and specialized training backgrounds. Hayes approached Vasquez with expression reflecting professional respect combined with curiosity about training programs that produce capabilities far exceeding standard combat instruction. His earlier confidence had been replaced by genuine appreciation for exceptional qualifications and elite preparation. Corporal Hayes stepped forward with formal military bearing, his posture reflecting recognition of superior training and documented expertise. "Lieutenant," he said, his voice carrying newfound respect, "I apologize for our initial assessment. We clearly underestimated your qualifications and specialized background." Hayes's acknowledgement was professional and sincere, representing transition from casual dismissal to appropriate recognition of exceptional capabilities. Private Chun joined Hayes in offering formal recognition of specialized qualifications, his earlier concerns about appropriate restraint now understood as fundamental misunderstanding of tactical capabilities and elite training backgrounds. Chin's expression reflected embarrassment combined with professional appreciation for witnessing capabilities that belong to entirely different categories of military instruction. His acknowledgement was respectful and appropriate. Morrison and Davis approached together, their coordinated movement reflecting the same teamwork that had characterized their earlier unsuccessful assault, though their current purpose involved recognition rather than combat engagement. Both Marines displayed professional courtesy appropriate to documented expertise, their expressions acknowledging specialized qualifications while maintaining military bearing. Their approach was respectful and properly formal. "Lieutenant," Morrison said, his tone reflecting comprehensive understanding of exceptional qualifications, "we appreciate the educational demonstration. Your capabilities clearly exceed our initial expectations by substantial margins." His statement acknowledged systematic defeat while recognizing that encounters with elite personnel provided valuable learning opportunities about specialized training programs and exceptional preparation standards. Private Hernandez and Lance Corporal Williams completed the group acknowledgement, their professional bearing reflecting recognition of superior qualifications and appropriate respect for documented expertise. Both Marines understood that their encounters with specialized capabilities had provided insight into military training programs that exceeded their previous experience and knowledge. Their acknowledgement was sincere and professionally appropriate. Sergeant Mills initiated documentation procedures required for official recognition of specialized personnel within standard training environments, his administrative responsibilities encompassing proper reporting of exceptional qualifications and elite capabilities. Mills's professional experience provided framework for managing situations involving personnel whose documented expertise exceeded routine assessment parameters and standard evaluation criteria. The growing crowd of observers maintained respectful positions while witnessing official recognition of specialized capabilities that had been revealed through unprecedented training demonstrations. Personnel throughout Hangar 7 understood that routine exercise had evolved into administrative matter requiring comprehensive documentation and proper notification of command authority. The atmosphere reflected professional curiosity combined with appropriate respect for exceptional qualifications. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez completed initial communication with base administration. His report encompassing witnessed capabilities and documented credentials that required immediate attention from appropriate command authority. Rodriguez's professional assessment acknowledged exceptional qualifications while emphasizing necessity for revised operational protocols and specialized personnel management procedures. His communication was thorough and appropriately detailed. Master Sergeant Thompson coordinated with facility security to ensure that proper protocols were implemented for managing personnel with specialized credentials and exceptional capabilities. Thompson's administrative knowledge encompassed requirements for handling elite military personnel within standard base operations, his experience providing framework for appropriate procedures and operational adjustments. Lieutenant Vasquez acknowledged the formal recognition from the 6 Marines with professional courtesy appropriate to military hierarchy and documented expertise, her demeanor reflecting appreciation for their acknowledgement while maintaining bearing consistent with specialized training and elite qualifications. Her response was gracious and professionally appropriate, demonstrating leadership qualities consistent with exceptional preparation. The identification materials were returned to Vasquez with appropriate ceremony, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez ensuring that specialized credentials received respectful handling consistent with their significance and documented importance. Rodriguez's professional bearing reflected recognition of exceptional qualifications while maintaining appropriate military courtesy and official respect for elite training backgrounds. The atmosphere in Hangar 7 had transformed completely from routine training environment to official recognition ceremony. Every observer understanding that they had witnessed demonstration of capabilities requiring comprehensive administrative attention and proper documentation procedures. Staff personnel maintained respectful silence while processing implications that would influence future operations and assignment protocols throughout the entire facility. Sergeant Mills completed initial documentation of unprecedented training outcomes. His official reports encompassing witness capabilities and exceptional qualifications that exceeded standard assessment parameters by substantial margins. Mills's professional responsibility included comprehensive reporting of specialized personnel whose documented expertise required different handling protocols and operational considerations. His documentation was thorough and appropriately detailed. The official recognition was complete and appropriate, though administrative procedures would continue as base command processed implications of specialized personnel assignments and exceptional qualifications that had been revealed through systematic demonstration of elite capabilities. The transformation from routine training to official acknowledgement represented proper military response to documented expertise and specialized credentials. Base Commander Colonel Harrison arrived in Hangar 7 with the purposeful stride of a career officer who had received reports requiring immediate personal attention and comprehensive assessment. His presence transformed the atmosphere from administrative recognition to official command inquiry, every person present understanding that witness capabilities had attracted attention at the highest levels of base authority. Colonel Harrison's weathered face reflected professional curiosity combined with recognition that routine assignments had revealed exceptional personnel requiring specialized consideration. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez approached the colonel with formal military bearing. His comprehensive report, encompassing witness demonstrations and documented credentials that exceeded standard operational parameters. Rodriguez's professional assessment acknowledged exceptional qualifications while emphasizing implications for training protocols and personnel management procedures. His communication was thorough, respectful, and appropriately detailed for command authority review. Colonel Harrison examined Vasquez's specialized credentials with the methodical attention of a senior officer whose career encompassed management of diverse military personnel and complex operational requirements. Harrison's assessment was comprehensive and professional, his experience providing context for understanding elite qualifications and specialized training backgrounds. His examination acknowledged exceptional documentation while considering implications for base operations. Lieutenant Vasquez, Colonel Harrison said, his tone reflecting appropriate recognition of documented expertise combined with professional curiosity about assignment procedures. Your credentials indicate qualifications that exceed our standard personnel assessments. His statement acknowledged specialized capabilities while recognizing administrative complexities of managing elite personnel within routine operational environments. Harrison's approach was respectful and appropriately formal. Master Sergeant Thompson provided supplementary information regarding witness capabilities and systematic demonstrations that had revealed exceptional training backgrounds. His career experience encompassing recognition of specialized personnel and elite qualifications. Thompson's assessment was professional and comprehensive, acknowledging capabilities that belong to entirely different categories of military instruction and preparation standards. The 6 Marines who had participated in the demonstration maintained respectful positions while witnessing command recognition of capabilities that had systematically exceeded their tactical abilities and professional expectations. Hayes, Chun, Morrison, Davis, Hernandez, and Williams displayed appropriate military bearing while understanding that their encounters with specialized personnel had provided valuable insight into elite training programs and exceptional preparation standards. Colonel Harrison's evaluation encompassed not only documented credentials, but witnessed capabilities that had been demonstrated with systematic efficiency and technical precision. His assessment acknowledged exceptional qualifications while considering implications for training protocols, operational assignments, and personnel management procedures throughout the facility. Harrison's professional judgment was comprehensive and appropriately thorough. Sergeant Mills presented his official documentation of unprecedented training outcomes, his reports encompassing witness demonstrations and exceptional qualifications that required comprehensive administrative attention and proper command notification. Mills's professional responsibility included detailed reporting of specialized personnel whose documented expertise exceeded standard assessment parameters and evaluation criteria. The growing assembly of personnel maintained respectful attention while witnessing command recognition of exceptional capabilities that had been revealed through systematic demonstration of elite training and specialized qualifications. Staff throughout Hangar 7 understood that routine exercise had evolved into significant administrative matter requiring comprehensive evaluation and appropriate operational adjustments. Lieutenant Vasquez, Colonel Harrison continued, his assessment complete and his recognition appropriate to documented expertise. Your qualifications clearly exceed our initial personnel assignments. His acknowledgement reflected comprehensive understanding of specialized credentials while recognizing necessity for revised operational protocols and appropriate utilization of exceptional capabilities. Harrison's statement was professional and respectfully delivered. The colonel's presence ensured that appropriate procedures would be implemented for managing personnel with elite qualifications and specialized training backgrounds. His command authority encompassing responsibility for optimal utilization of exceptional capabilities within standard base operations. Harrison's professional judgment provided framework for administrative adjustments and operational modifications required for proper personnel management. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez received official commendation for professional recognition and appropriate reporting of exceptional personnel, his career instincts having identified specialized capabilities requiring command attention and comprehensive administrative response. Rodriguez's assessment had been thorough, professional, and appropriately detailed for senior command evaluation and operational planning purposes. Master Sergeant Thompson was acknowledged for his professional coordination and administrative oversight during official recognition of specialized personnel, his career experience having provided essential framework for managing situations involving elite qualifications and exceptional capabilities. Thompson's presence had ensured appropriate procedures and proper command notification throughout the evolving administrative situation. The atmosphere in Hangar 7 reflected complete transformation from routine training environment to official command recognition of exceptional personnel and specialized capabilities. Every observer understood that witness demonstrations had revealed qualifications requiring comprehensive administrative attention and appropriate operational adjustments throughout the facility. The significance of documented expertise was acknowledged at all levels. Colonel Harrison's assessment was complete and his recognition appropriate to documented qualifications and witness capabilities. His command judgment encompassing implications for training protocols, operational assignments, and personnel utilization throughout the base. Harrison's professional evaluation acknowledged exceptional credentials while ensuring that appropriate procedures would be implemented for optimal management of specialized personnel. The official command recognition represented proper military response to documented expertise and exceptional qualifications, though administrative procedures would continue as base operations adapted to accommodate personnel whose capabilities exceeded standard parameters. The transformation from routine assignment to specialized recognition reflected appropriate command attention to elite qualifications and exceptional training backgrounds. Lieutenant Vasquez maintained professional bearing throughout command recognition, her demeanor reflecting confidence appropriate to documented expertise combined with respect for military hierarchy and administrative procedures. Her credentials had provided comprehensive explanation for witness capabilities while establishing requirements for specialized handling and appropriate operational utilization of exceptional qualifications and elite training backgrounds. 3 weeks after the demonstration in Hangar 7, Lieutenant Vasquez had been reassigned to the Advanced Combat Training Division with responsibilities that properly utilized her exceptional qualifications and specialized expertise. The transformation in her professional standing was complete and appropriate, her documented credentials having established requirements for operational assignments that matched her elite capabilities. Her new position encompassed instruction of specialized combat techniques and coordination of advanced training protocols. The 6 Marines who had participated in the original demonstration had requested additional training sessions under Vasquez's instruction, their professional curiosity having evolved into genuine appreciation for learning opportunities that exceeded standard combat training parameters. Hayes, Chun, Morrison, Davis, Hernandez, and Williams displayed consistent dedication to improving their capabilities through exposure to elite instruction and specialized techniques that enhance their tactical effectiveness. Corporal Hayes approached the advanced training facility with expression reflecting anticipation rather than the casual confidence that had characterized his earlier encounter with exceptional capabilities. His professional development had benefited substantially from instruction that challenged his assumptions while providing technical knowledge that enhanced his combat effectiveness. Hayes's progress was measurable and consistently impressive. Private Chin's training performance had improved dramatically under specialized instruction that addressed tactical deficiencies revealed during his initial encounter with elite capabilities. His dedication to learning reflected professional growth that distinguished motivated personnel from those who failed to adapt when confronted with superior techniques and exceptional training standards. Chin's development was consistent and professionally noteworthy. Morrison and Davis continued their coordinated training approach, their teamwork enhanced by instruction that refined their tactical coordination while introducing advanced techniques that exceeded their previous combat knowledge. Both Marines demonstrated consistent improvement that reflected professional dedication combined with appreciation for learning opportunities that challenged their capabilities while expanding their tactical understanding. Private Hernandez and Lance Corporal Williams completed the group of motivated trainees, their commitment to professional development having intensified following encounters with capabilities that exceeded their initial expectations. Both Marines displayed consistent progress that reflected serious dedication to improving their combat effectiveness through exposure to elite instruction and specialized training techniques. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez had been officially commended for his professional recognition and appropriate reporting of exceptional personnel, his career instincts having identified specialized capabilities requiring command attention and comprehensive administrative response. Rodriguez's assessment had influenced base protocols for recognizing and properly utilizing personnel with elite qualifications and exceptional training backgrounds. Master Sergeant Thompson received recognition for his administrative coordination during official identification of specialized personnel, his career experience having provided essential framework for managing situations involving exceptional capabilities and elite qualifications. Thompson's presence had ensured appropriate procedures and proper command notification throughout the administrative recognition process. Sergeant Mills had implemented revised training protocols that accommodated personnel with specialized backgrounds and exceptional capabilities, his professional experience having expanded to encompass recognition of elite qualifications and appropriate instruction methods. Mills's training documentation had been updated to reflect comprehensive assessment criteria for specialized personnel and exceptional training outcomes. Colonel Harrison's administrative adjustments had optimized utilization of exceptional personnel while enhancing overall base training effectiveness through proper recognition and appropriate assignment of specialized capabilities. Harrison's command judgment had encompassed implications for operational efficiency and training enhancement throughout the facility. His leadership had facilitated optimal integration of elite personnel in his standard operations. The Advanced Combat Training Division had evolved into a center of excellence that attracted personnel seeking instruction that exceeded standard military parameters, its reputation enhanced by the presence of documented expertise and specialized capabilities. The facility's training effectiveness had improved substantially through proper utilization of elite qualifications and exceptional instructional capabilities. Lieutenant Vasquez's professional satisfaction reflected appropriate recognition of her specialized qualifications and optimal utilization of capabilities that had previously been underutilized within routine assignments. Her instructional responsibilities encompassed advanced combat techniques and tactical coordination that challenged motivated personnel while enhancing overall base training effectiveness and operational readiness. The transformation from initial underestimation to professional recognition had been complete and appropriate, reflecting military systems that adapted effectively when confronted with exceptional personnel and documented expertise. The administrative response had optimized operational effectiveness while ensuring that specialized capabilities received proper recognition and appropriate utilization within standard base operations. Before we conclude this remarkable story, if you found yourself inspired by Lieutenant Vasquez's quiet determination and the way respect was earned through demonstrated excellence, drop a comment and share your favorite moment from her journey. Maybe you've witnessed similar situations where someone surprised everyone with hidden capabilities, or perhaps you know someone in your life who showed this kind of quiet strength when others doubted them. The ongoing success of the Advanced Combat Training Division reflected systemic improvements that resulted from proper recognition and optimal utilization of exceptional personnel, the facility's enhanced reputation attracting motivated trainees seeking instruction that exceeded standard parameters. The administrative transformation had created lasting improvements in training effectiveness and operational capabilities throughout the base. Lieutenant Vasquez's daily responsibilities encompassed instruction of advanced techniques and coordination of specialized training that challenged conventional approaches while enhancing tactical effectiveness among motivated personnel. Her professional fulfillment reflected appropriate recognition of documented expertise and optimal utilization of capabilities that contributed substantially to overall base operations and training excellence. The complete transformation from casual dismissal to professional recognition represented successful adaptation of military systems when confronted with exceptional personnel and documented expertise. The administrative response having optimized operational effectiveness while ensuring appropriate utilization of specialized capabilities within standard base operations and training protocols.